Hey there friends, what a deadly Independence Day holiday we've had so far, and we're only our third day into it. Today as I record this, it's Saturday. So we've had, I guess technically, Wednesday night started the July 4th Independence Day celebration, in through Thursday, Friday, and now Saturday. So we have a pretty alarming start to the weekend, and we still have technically 2 days left. First, guys, go check out my good friends over at CMMG, cmmg.com. These guys make some of the best firearms on the market, some of the best variety of firearms on the market, different types of configurations, as well as different calibers and many different Cerakote finishes. These guys put their money where their mouth is. These guys are one of the leading companies out there who get on board routinely with Second Amendment issues, and they put their money where their mouth is. They are investing their own hard-earned money to protect our rights, and yes, they make good stuff also. Use my discount code FTATF at cmmg.com. Again, my discount code is FTATF for 10% off at cmmg.com. I want you guys to see this news report real quick because not only does it expose how the media frames things to fit their narrative, but also the lack of awareness of the people that are involved right in the middle of the community. Take a look.
Tonight we're learning that at least 20 people were shot on July 4th alone. 8 of them were killed, and this comes as many are trying to grapple with the lasting impact that gun violence can have on a community.
Assassination days, baby.
That's what Erica Pinkerton calls the July 4th holiday. She says she's trying to keep her spirits up after her friend, a 74-year-old woman, was shot just this morning.
They don't bother nobody. They're the sweetest ladies you would ever want to meet.
She says her friend was one of the 8 people who were shot in the Little Italy neighborhood Friday. Just hours after that shooting, 6 people were shot in Austin, adding to what has already been a violent week in Chicago.
They got to stop the guns, You can't go out at night. You're afraid to go out at night because you're going to get shot or something.
Vaughn Bryant, executive director of the Metropolitan Peace Initiatives, says the violence is hurting local businesses.
You can't complain that you don't have businesses or things that are going on when we're not keeping it safe in the areas for the businesses to thrive.
At least 56 people have been shot and 10 killed since Wednesday evening, including 3 mass shootings. Bryant's team is a group of 15 community-based organizations focused on reducing gun violence. He says in order to stop the violence, everyone has to lend a hand.
It's our city, and anything that is happening in our city as citizens, it's our responsibility.
Mayor Brandon Johnson is responding to the violence in a statement saying, in part, we extend our heartfelt condolences to the families and communities impacted.
Like the old lady says, Assassination Day. That's how they describe it now because they're used to this. Yet these people will vote for the same people in office. It's just something I had to add. That it never misses me, the irony of these people out here shedding tears and crying and complaining about something, and go to the voting booth and see the same name that they voted for last time that did absolutely nothing to make their streets safer, and pull that lever for that same idiot one more time. But Mr. Raul Perez here, he's part of the problem. He says they got to stop the guns. This is a man who lives in the community, who knows the people, who sees nobody policing these children, nobody mentoring these children, including himself. Again, he is part of the problem. He is allowing the media and the local politicians and the federal politicians to sidestep their own responsibilities once again and blame a gun because it's easy, lazy, and they vomit the same kind of rhetoric that they're being told. And it's all a lie. It's all a ruse. This guy lives in a community and sees the lack of parenting in his own community. And the first thing he can think of when 50-something people get shot in just a few days is that we have a gun problem. Not once does he say, what are these people thinking? Why are they doing this? Who is trying to talk to these people to get them to do something other than shoot at each other? Because we know what it is. It's the same demographic. It's the same age group. Everything is the same. This is nothing new. These people have seen this time and time again. And actually, these people will probably be the first ones to yell at you and tell you, let us take care of our own problem. I've been down that road before. I sat in the State House in Baton Rouge one time, and one of the guys in the community for Baton Rouge, one of the state reps, got mad because we were talking to them about what we should do to minimize and limit crime in his area. And he says, talking about white people, let us take care of our own problems. Y'all don't worry about it. Fine, but your problems continue to escalate. What we're offering is help, and these people continue to refuse the help that you offer them. Why? I'll tell you why. One of the reasons is we have this guy here, Vaughn Bryant. Now, he had lots of really cool things to say. Let me replay that for you so you can see that he said a lot of words, but he said a lot of nothing also.
Can't complain that you don't have businesses or things that are going on when we're not keeping it safe in the areas for the businesses to thrive. It's our city, and anything that is happening in our city as citizens, it's our responsibility.
So this guy makes a lot of money to say cool stuff, and people look at it and go, wow, big word, big word, big word. This is really cool sounding. When you break down what he says, he offered no solutions. He offered nothing. He's like, the best way I can say it is he's like a journalist describing something that's happening. Like if you're watching a plane crash, I see the plane crashing. I see the plane catch fire. I see people die in a plane crash. End of story. That's what this guy did. He literally just sat here and described the problem. And his job is to provide solutions to those problems, and he doesn't do that. Now, I did a little bit of digging because I was curious about this organization. You talk about a well-funded organization. It's essentially a feel-good organization. It's an equity-focused slush fund, so to speak, and took a little bit of digging, but I found that it is a part of the Metropolitan Family Services located right there in the Chicago area. Again, these people do not do anything as far as helping out. You can see their own webpage here. The public equity. Equity is key. You're literally talking about equity in a city and a community that is focused on just black people, yet they're talking about equity. Why would you even do that? I could see, I guess, if the myth of the equity thing out there is if you had a mixed community or something like that, and you were trying to get the black people in that area pushed ahead of everybody else like equity programs typically do. But you literally are operating inside a vacuum that has 99.99999% black people in it, and you're talking about equity? You want 99.9999999% of the black people to be more equal than that 0.000000001% of people who are not black? You talk about wasted money. And look at the middle of the recent news. Overheard at the 2024 Giffords Community Violence Intervention Conference. So again, this slush fund pays really handsome salaries. It allows these people to go on expensive trips where they do nothing at all to further any safety in their own communities. I was able to pull up their 2023 financial statements, and wouldn't you know, we have some really handsomely paid employees here. Now again, this is the entire organization, the parent organization, and of course, the Metropolitan Peace Initiative. But look at these salaries. Total program salaries of $49 million. This is Chicago now. This is not nationwide. This is in Chicago. Salaries are right at $50 million. Look right below that. That's not something that you should yawn about. Payroll, taxes, and benefits. That benefit package for $49 million worth of salary is still upwards to almost $12 million. $11,731,000. That's incredible. I mean, you're literally looking at a benefit and salary package for just Chicago of $60 million. And look right below that. That's simply right there, the professional fees and subcontractor payments. That is, with a number that high, you can believe that that is hidden expenses to brother-in-laws, sister-in-laws, homies, people like that, that they know somebody, that they sidestep hiring them as employees to not have to pay them the payroll taxes and benefits, but yet still give them a really nice, handsome salary of $30 million. So between your full-time workers and your contract workers, they are paying out $90 million to people in just Chicago for these types of programs. Now, my reason for bringing all that up is this is another way for you to see wasteful government spending. It's all window dressing. It's people who say, we're doing a wonderful thing. This is our goal to minimize violence. They never produce. They never minimize violence, but they do busy work. They create little programs. They create ways to go talk to people about why guns are bad. They do a lot of busy work. They create t-shirts, posters, presentations. But in the end, these people have no incentive to lower the crime. This is job security. If they were to lower crime in these areas, what would happen? Their jobs would go away. Their jobs are literally, according to them, to make the area safer. So if they made the area safe, we wouldn't need them anymore. They have no incentive. In fact, this is a disincentive to reduce any kind of violence in this area. This again is a perfect example at the local level, and this extends all the way up to the federal level, of an example of false claims and wasteful spending. Now, the silliness of this type of news coverage is, if you notice, the chick said that they had 58 people shot in Chicago over the course of 3 days, but we had 3 mass shootings in that. Are you serious? Do you realize how stupid that is? Do you realize how much this chick looks like she is parroting the vomit of the far left people? She can't talk about these specific numbers, which to me has more of an impact. When you tell me 58 people were shot, that sounds really bad. When you tell me 3 mass shootings, you kind of cloud the water, because I know now that they're not. Your idea of a mass shooting is gang-related violence, and it's Chicago. Really? I mean, are we really supposed to believe that out of 58 people being shot on the streets, shell casings all over the streets, trash all over the streets, you can tell it's people fighting. You can tell it's confrontational attacks that's taking place here. But when you throw in the 3 mass shootings, that immediately is trying to send everybody's mind to the narrative that this is somehow an attempt to make people think and distract them from the gang violence and from the street violence, to all of a sudden think that some sociopath randomly walked into a school, a church, a grocery store, and just randomly started shooting at people indiscriminately, trying to kill as many people as they can. That's the reason why they carve out, quote, mass shootings. The people who know the truth, like you and I, the number of 58 shots sounds way worse to me than 3 mass shootings, because I know the 3 mass shootings are a lie. And I know that they're only using the Gun Violence Archive's definition of that by saying 4 or more people shot or killed. So 4 or more people shot or killed, usually it's right at 4 that the GVA uses, so that's 12. So 58 is more than 12. So really, they are trying to divert attention from a sensational standpoint, instead of just focusing on the actual problem, which is 58 people shot. And just because you had 3 different instances of 4 or more shot within those gang shootings, somehow or another, that's supposed to be more sexy and more sensational. It just goes to show you the false claims, the lies of the media. And I wanted you to see the budget numbers so you could see where the wasteful money goes. It's a big business. As I mentioned in my book, I call it the anti-gun enterprise, because it is an absolute enterprise. It is big business. Just because you are not the Everytown for Crazy Moms or the Giffords or whatever doesn't mean that you're not part of an anti-gun movement and an anti-gun enterprise. The fact that the majority of the violence that they have in Chicago is gun-related, because they don't do anything to try to mentor these young people there, they are going to be focusing on guns most of the time. So this is a very well-funded machine that looks like it's a community improvement type organization, but again, it's a slush fund for people to make a whole lot of money off of it, and for no one to have any real measurable things, because every time they fail at, quote, reducing violence, and especially reducing, quote, gun violence, as they like to call it, every time they fail at that, you know what they do? They blame it on Washington, D.C. They blame it on politicians. Hey, look how much money. We're spending all this money in our community, and we still can't get the violence to go down. Why? Because Congress won't pass new gun laws. That's what they always hang their hat on. So they always have the excuse when they get evaluated. Let's say they go into their supervisor's office. Hey, Johnny, man, you suck. We had 58 shootings in Chicago this last 2 or 3 days. What's the problem? If Congress would pass more anti-gun laws, I could do my job. I mean, I'm throwing as much money at it as I can. I can't do anything more. Pass new laws, and then you'll see it go away. You'll see the crime go down. They always have that out. It's a perfect recipe for them to continue to make tons of money, have no responsibility, no accountability, and still do just fine and be the kings of the community, because these dummies will continue to vote for the same people making the same bad decisions every single time.
God save the Queen, man.
I'm sorry, I thought this was America. Pisamos!